Good evening, and I am on a different computer now, and so my settings may be off. But I want to give a warm welcome to tonight's live stream, Fight CPS and Stop Taking Our Children. I'm Bob Pace, I'm your host, and I'm here to help you with your problems with CPS, which I call the Child Protection System. Now, I think my lighting's okay here. There's something called the other kind of lighting here I could do. Well, it's not that one here. It's the ones. Yeah, here it is. That didn't seem to do anything to. Oh, that's the volume. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to try it 75%. Hopefully, you guys can see me okay. Anna, can you see me? And welcome, Anna from Florida. My lighting looks fine, and my voice is okay. Hi, Chris, and welcome. I'm so glad you called me back. Chris was on my show this morning. And let me go ahead and okay, I just put on the stage, I just put the comments everybody's here. So we have Anna Smith, who's from Florida. Says it looks good. Good. I'm glad you're back, Chris. I'm glad you're back. Chris didn't have a time to call in or talk on the show this morning, but I'm glad that he did. Or she came back, I should say. I think it's a mother, if I remember this correctly. The biological father is somehow involved, but is not really showing any interest, but they're giving more credit to him. And the mother of the child is some connection with your other mother. I was getting confused. I still am, Chris. And I think Chris is from Florida, too. I think Anna Smith is from Florida, and Chris is. Anna has talked on the show. She once was a foster child herself, and she forgot to get her cleaned up and everything in there. So I want to thank you very, very, very much. For being here. Yes, I wish you would call in, Chris. Let me put my phone number up. Let me put my phone number up here. I'm putting my phone number up right now. There's my phone number. It's 626 698 0990. Now, since this is an international live stream shown around the world, you guys, our country code is 01. Our country code is 01. Now, I know, here we go. Got the call here. Good evening and welcome to my live stream. This is Bob Pace, and who do I have the pleasure of talking to? Okay, you are Chris,
Yes,
right? And um you're from Florida, right?
yes. Lee County.
Lee County, Florida. Okay, is that in southern Florida or northern Florida?
I'm sorry.
Is that southern or northern Florida?
Southwest.
Southwest. So you're on the Atlantic side.
Yes.
Are you above Cocoa Beach, Sebastian Inlet, Vero Beach, or are you north of Daytona? Where
I
try
believe I'm below Cocoa Beach. If you're looking at a
okay,
map, I'm left below.
okay. The reason why is I've been to Florida several times. I've done the A1 road down the coast there, and I have a friend that lives in Sebastian Inlet. That I've known him for pretty close to 41 years. So anyway, I'm glad you're here, and you're explaining to this morning that the biological father of your daughter, I think your daughter is 4 months old, right?
My daughter's 5.5 years old.
5.5 years old, years, not months. And the biological father's taking an interest now.
I believe DCF asked him 3 times. CPS is what you call it there in California. Asked
Well,
him
it's not.
three
It's
times. The
okay.
third.
Yeah, let me help her on that. I call it actually the child protection system, and there's so many
Oh,
systems. There's like 1,000 names or more.
okay.
And so instead of me saying DCF or DCS or CPS or what, I just say CPS. So that means your outfit. I think you guys in Florida is called the Department of Children and Families, right?
Yes.
Right. So instead of doing that, that's why I call it. It's not because it's California, because California is just bad. I have two counties. One is uh, s- uh, child protection services. The other one's Department of Children and Family Services. So I was getting confused with two counties next to each other. They do that on purpose.
Oh,
They do that on purpose because people
I'm sure they can.
they want to keep people confused.
Yeah. Well, they are very confusing, especially I never have been involved in a dependency case before ever, or these people. Um, so I could give you a short little glimpse of my situation if you'd like.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to understand is the players. I know you talked about them. You said your mother was in, I think you said Missouri.
Correct. We were all born and raised in Missouri.
So your mother raised you there. Were you a foster kid back then when you were a small child?
No, sir.
Okay. So your mother raised you and then you had a child, correct?
Correct.
And 5 years ago you had that child. Was there any problem when the child was first born?
No, sir.
Okay. And so as time went on, your relationship, were you married to the biological father of the child?
No, sir. She was
Oh,
she was made in Florida, but I had no family in Florida. So I went back to Missouri, and she was conceived out in Missouri. And I
okay.
stayed in Missouri because I have family there,
Well, why
and
did
they helped me.
CPS? Okay, how come you went from Missouri to Florida? I mean, how come you're in Florida?
I just go to Florida for like the winter.
So you were there with your child. Is that when CPS came knocking at the door?
Correct.
Now, did you have a
That was,
physical address, like a mailing address in Florida?
I had an Airbnb address.
Okay, well, the thing is this is the problem with CPS. CPS wants money. And
Yes.
if a CPS entity in another state gets wind of a situation they can prey upon, they're going to take advantage of it. Technically, your permanent address is Missouri. You were born in Missouri, you're raised in Missouri, and your child was conceived though in Florida on a
No,
vacation.
she was conceived in Missouri on birth certificates in Missouri, which is my
Okay, all
name.
right, okay. So why did CPS bug you when you're in Florida on your vacation?
Because I took an Uber from the beach daughter, took an Uber. I threw us in the Uber. The Uber let us out of the car and had no wallet, had no phone to call anybody. So I see some lights. I'm thinking they'll help us. I wave them down, and it's the police. And then the police got DCF involved.
Yeah, because you had a little 5-year-old child in tote.
Correct.
Did you tell them
And
that
then they
your
didn't come back
residence?
until the next day.
Yeah, did you tell them your residence is Missouri?
I told them I was staying in the Airbnb.
Oh, okay. All right. But they knew that your permanent residence was Missouri.
Yes, and I told them that I have full custody of her in Missouri from 2020.
Okay, do you have the
They didn't care.
paperwork? Do you have the paperwork to support that?
Yes, but they
Okay.
didn't ask for that.
Well, you don't.
I told them they needed a warrant to come into the home.
Well, first of all, you're right. Unless the child's in danger. Now, my question is, when you flagged down the police, were you still enumerated?
Intoxicated, yeah.
Okay, so you're still intoxicated, and you had a child with you. That is a grounds for neglect. I can see why they got you for neglect. Because as a parent, you're not supposed to be drinking or doing drugs or all those kinds of things with children. And so that is really hard on you. I know it is. So they're coming there to investigate and they say, oh, goody, here's someone we can get a lot of money from, which is sad because right away, you should have told them when they first came. Well, first of all, they come to your door. Do you open the door?
I told them they wanted to come into the house that night and told them they needed a warrant. And she says, well, if you think I need a warrant, I'll be here tomorrow to pick up your daughter. And I said, well, the hell you will. I got a custody order in Missouri. There ain't nothing you can do right now.
Well, wait a
She said,
second.
I'll be back here tomorrow to pick up
Okay,
your daughter.
right. They are because you ruffled their feathers. You see, your mistake was even talking. You see, a lot of people don't know that when your door is closed, it's your drawbridge in your castle. You could place yourself in medieval times. When people put the drawbridge up, the castle is closed. So when your door is closed, you don't have to answer or talk to anybody outside. You don't know them. They don't know you. You don't know them. And I know you. I did the same thing, but don't be so hard on yourself. But for all my listeners out here, I'm telling them the same thing. When the door rings, don't answer the door unless you know who's ringing it. And I tell people to have special rings or special knocks to get in there. And then what you can further do is tell your family members the same thing so they don't open the door. Because anytime somebody opens the door, it's a can of worms. It's a can of worms.
Yeah.
If you don't say anything, yeah, they may come the next day with a warrant or not. The problem is 9 out of 10 times the warrant is bogus because they have to go to court and speak to a judge and get a court order that says they've tried several times to come into the home and the parents are not talking to them. And the judge is going to make sure before he issues the warrant. Then the warrant's got to have the right date, has to be signed by a judge, it has to be notarized, meaning there's a stamp that is pressed onto the signature. And then it's got to have special instructions and what they can do and what they cannot do. It's got to list your names and it's got to list the charges and your names of your children. If a lot of the information is missing or that date happens to fall on a weekend or a weekday that's a holiday, then it's definitely a bogus warrant.
Yeah, it was a weekend.
I'm sorry, what?
It was Sunday night is when it happened, and they came Monday. Sunday night is when it happened, and then they came Monday in the afternoon, late afternoon.
And what you could have done, again, this is hindsight, is you could call your attorney Monday morning and ask him what you need to
I
do.
needed an attorney.
Yeah. Well, that is the problem. Most people don't have attorneys handy. They should. They also should have something called medical insurance. Now, I'm doing a sidebar because I'm talking about a life skill that people forget to do. Not only you get insurances for your car and your pets in your home, but you should also get insurance for legal problems. For instance, if you have to get a lawyer to defend you on a DUI, or you have to come up with a retainer, and legal insurance will pay for the retainer. If you need a $50,000 retainer, $100,000 retainer, that's what you need legal insurance. And I don't mean just Zoom or Legal Shield. I'm talking about a bona fide policy that provides a retainer and the wages a real attorney. Now, attorneys run from $200 an hour to $1,000 an hour. Retainers may go from 5,000 to 100,000. It all varies on the complexity and the type of the cases. And those are things
I
you
want
don't
my
think.
second attorney.
Yeah, and I bet it
I
isn't.
had no idea about these cases. I had
Yeah,
no idea,
I
Bob.
know, I know, Chris, and I feel hard for you. So these people are determined to get you because you ruffle their feathers. First of all, you talk to them or answer the door, and you have every right to tell them. The first thing you need to do when you do talk to CPS workers or the police is this is regarding a legal matter. If it is, I need my attorney present. See, a lot of people don't know their constitution or their civil rights, and you have to have a lawyer. You're allowed by law. Anytime you need a legal matter, that a lawyer is present at all times. If you can't afford one, then one gets appointed. The only trouble is most of the appointed lawyers are terrible, and if it's coming from CPS, they hope you take the appointed attorney because they know they can control them. They're not trained or versed in juvenile law, family law, dependency law. You see, and so what I'm trying to do on my
Yeah, I
show,
don't have an appointed one.
yeah, is trying to do preventive measures. But a lot of people get an attorney because they panic. They don't research the attorney well enough. They don't get three quotes. You should always get three quotes, and you need to get three references for the three attorneys you speak to. And after you met them, then you make the determination which one you want. It's really important to the chemistry because good attorneys are probably pretty close in price. But you want an attorney that has documented times of getting children back that's fought CPS. You want an attorney that's also done civil lawsuits and filed lawsuits against CPS and got money back. That kind of person is hard to find. I have one out here in California, and he'll come to Florida or any other state in the country. But it does cost more because he's got airfare, ground transportation, hotel accommodations, and food. Plus, he has to pay for the license for that state. There's a license required for all the states, and no attorney has 50 licenses for 50 states. It's economically ridiculous to pay.
Would you take it on contingency?
No, see, that's the problem. Not very many attorneys do contingency because this is not a lawsuit where there's money going to be won. So there's nothing in for the attorney to do it on contingency. If he wins the case, CPS will not give him the money. He has to do a civil lawsuit to get the money. That one sometimes is on contingency. But if you have an active case with CPS, you have to have that case done before you do a lawsuit against CPS in a
Right.
civil lawsuit. And so what you're stuck with is either pro se, do it yourself, or use a court appointed attorney, or try to scrap off enough money to get one and get a retainer for the right kind of attorney. That's what you need to get. So,
Yeah,
anyway,
I'm already six in the hole. So,
I know. And it's
but
sad because I was the same way
he's a
too.
good attorney though. I just
Okay.
it's just hard. This is I'm on 103 days now, and I've completed my parenting classes. I completed my substance alcohol classes. I've done everything above and beyond. I even go to AA classes they didn't even tell me to do. I do that every single day. I go to church. I go to church groups. But yet they're still progressing the father.
Well, they're doing that for delaying. You see, it's going to take an average of 1 to 2 years. Now, I had a
Wow, I
case.
appreciate that.
I know. like I had to take a domestic violence class. That is a 12-month class. The alcohol class, I think, is 12 months, isn't it?
I was 8 classes
Okay, that's pretty good
here
for,
in Florida.
okay. In California, it's a full year of going to alcohol treatment. And for domestic violence, it's 52 weeks or 52 classes. Um, I know it's hard. I know it's hard. Now, what I'm trying to do is I'm using new computers, so I'm trying to adjust my uh, my complexion and everything. So that's why I'm kind of moving closer and a further way. But
It's okay.
yeah,
So my mom came down to Florida from Missouri to have placement of my daughter, right? Instead of putting her in a foster, you got 4 hours to figure out where your child's going to go. So she immediately got in her car, drove down here, and now she has, the supervisor placement. She got the rental here in Florida. She doesn't like Florida, she's just here for my daughter. And it's just, we're trying to get this ICPC thing done. And DCF has told us they have already, participated in doing the paperwork. Even the judge, when we had a hearing one time, said, let's go ahead and do it. But yet they still have not progressed to ICPC.
yeah, the IPC is something that Florida wants money, and they want the easy money. That's the sad part. You're not the first person. If you notice, I have another person on my show right now. Her name is Anna Smith. She was a child growing up in the foster system, and she at age 18 didn't clean up her record, and so when she had children later in life as an adult, CPS kept records on her and came after her children. Easy picking.
Wow.
You see, the people as they, cannot believe that government agencies could be so bad.
Who pays these people? Do you know?
Yeah, here's what it does. The federal government sends billions to each state, and then each state sends millions to the county. And again, the state doesn't ask for any qualifications. Either does the federal. All someone has to do is either layman or a professional reporter makes a complaint. That complaint within 24 hours has to be investigated. The social worker calls the state and gets a number. That's where the money comes from. And each child is giving $20,000 to CPS to help that CPS work with that children. So you're talking $20,000 a month for one child. If you have 3 children, it's 60. Go ahead.
So they put a jurisdiction conference call with Missouri judge, and Missouri said, well, since it's already going on there, I don't see why we would, jump in. So the judge there, because of my custody order there, said to just keep it here until it's closed. So that hurt us.
Yeah, but we shouldn't have. You should have. Yeah, if I was your attorney, the first thing I would have done is, say who I am so that the CPS would not know it's going to be easy cakewalk. And I would demand that you have that your license and your birth certificate and your custody paperwork be shown to the CPS right away. Now, I don't know if the attorney using the time knew about that or not. Because if you have a driver's license or even a birth certificate yourself and a driver's license and the children's birth certificate, then that would prove who you are in relationship to the child. The next step within a couple of days is you have to figure out where the child's going to be if they feel that the child's not safe with you. Why was the child not safe with you? Why did they remove the child? What was going to endanger the child?
They made up false allegations. They said that I flooded sobriety help that I've never checked into in my life. I've never looked into a sobriety help. They said I was discarded and told never to return to this sobriety help. They lied.
Yeah, okay.
They said that I've had a continuous drinking problem. That's not true at all. I have character references from everybody, friends and family, that show what mother I've been on my own, single, my daughter. And you can tell by my daughter, she's a great child. There's nothing wrong with her. She's going to start kindergarten on Monday. CCS got involved and enrolled her with the father who's been abandoned her whole life into a school without even telling me what school, not giving me any information. I think it's violating my parental rights.
Well, it is. It is. The problem is I can't speak because I don't know what attorney you have, what his background. What is the background of the first attorney?
He said that it says dependency, but he was right next to the court that Lee County is, the courthouse, and he just wanted more and more money, and I couldn't do it. He wasn't doing anything for me. I was.
And what was his background? By the way, I need to say hello to Betty Joe. She's from Montana. She's a foster care mom. You don't go anywhere. I'm just saying hello to the room. See, I have family that comes in this room all the time. And so Anna Smith is let me go back here to Betty Joe. She said, "Hey Bob, sounds fishy. Use the law help. She can get an ICPC, which I know you're doing. It takes up 6 to 8 months," Betty Joe says. She knows firsthand about ICPC because her niece, her brother's daughter, she was trying to get her brother's daughter from Nebraska to Montana. She had an ICPC done, but then the caregiver people that were taking care of the child in Nebraska said that the child would be too broken and had to return her. So she had to return her niece that she had gotten there. And so now she's with a caregiving people, which only want her because of the money they get for her. That is all. It's all about money. It's all about money. And Anna says, on my opinion, Florida has the worst foster care system. Not only that, Florida DCF foster care system has the highest amount of foster kids cases, even paperwork missing, than any other state. And says to Betty Joe, what is the law help in ICPC? Okay, Anna, ICPC stands for the Interstate Compact of Placement of Children. Anytime a child's being moved from one state to next state, this independent non-government entity, the ICPC, must make arrangements to safely transport the child from one state to the other state. That's what an ICPC is. Now, Betty Joe says the trial from one state to another state. You see, what we're doing is moving the trial from one state to another state. What Betty Joe was saying. You need to get a character. Okay.
Not in a good place and bring her back.
Right. You need to get a character letter from her pediatrician. You know, you have her pediatrician for 5.5 years, right?
Well, they made me go get one in Florida as soon as it
Well, I'm talking about the one in Missouri.
Yes, I can.
You need to get what's called a character letter. That tells
letter from the pediatrician
in Missouri about you, the mother.
Oh, about me?
Well,
I can get that.
The pediatrician has to say she's a good mom. She's brought her child for checkups. She's taken shots. I don't know of any incidents where she is involved in alcohol or anything like that. Okay. So Betty Joe is. I have a lot of people in this room that are trying to help you. They're listening to this as live. So that is.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
I know. Corilla Do a Trick is from Oxnard, California. Her real name is Felicia. She is a mom of 2 babies. They've been taken for September. Her stepdad won't give them back. Her stepbrother booted her out of her mom's house with a false eviction. And so she was out there. Her belongings were sent to the dump. And so now she's going through the dump to get her belongings. But her mother, she doesn't know where her mother is. Her mother's not been seen. And her mother used her daughter as a caregiver. So Felicia has a hard time helping herself when help is there. She let a commissioner run her case instead of a judge. Anytime you get a court case, make sure it's a judge, not a commissioner. Commissioners are not the kind of judge you need for your case. Now, Anna Smith says, so ICPC is basically AKA child trafficking. No, it's not child trafficking. It's a very legitimate organization, but it takes a lot of time and a lot of knowledge because you have to involve two states with the ICPC organization and make arrangements. They got to check out who's doing the transport and check out the person and everything. Now, Betty Joe further says you need to get home study on your mom's place and get a license as a foster parent. Okay, Chris?
Yes.
You
So
write this.
they asked my mom if she wanted to get that license, and my mom said yes.
Okay,
And
but
then
she has
it's
to
called like
do.
a number one licensing,
Yeah, she has to do a home study on your mom's place.
a level one license.
Right,
Yes.
right. Now she get her license as a foster parent because that's what you do. Now the first couple of days when your daughter was taken, they should have offered you that you submit a list of names, like say 20 names. They don't have to be in state, but 20 names that your child could stay with. If they feel your child's unsafe to stay with you, they have the duty to to interview your people you submit. So you may have names in Alaska or Rhode Island or someplace across the country. Doesn't have to be in the state. They don't like that. But you give a list of names. And again, you don't know all this because at the first couple of days of your case, you don't have an attorney in hand. And they move fast.
So
They move fast.
I gave them my mom's name, and then she immediately came down here as fast as she could to Florida.
Well, that is good. That is good. Did they check out your mom?
Yes, they did.
Did they?
Fingerprinting, background check.
Yeah. Did they find anything wrong with
and
your
then-
mom? Did they find anything wrong with your mom?
No, nothing's wrong with her. And
Okay.
they even said they were going to do a home study at her house in Missouri, which they have not done yet either.
Well, you need to keep pushing them. You need your attorney to keep pushing them. One thing I notice is you don't back off.
Nice.
You don't back off. You're very professional with them. It's a yes sir, no sir type routine, but you be very professional. But then you need to have your attorney beating his chest to fight for your case. You need an attorney that is trained in juvenile law, family law, and dependency law because that's the laws that they use.
Yeah, he's good. I mean, he's speaking up for me and everything, but they're just prolonging this. I feel like
it moves slow. It moves slow. My next question is: have you done anything about getting some documentation going?
I have so much documentation that I've sent to my attorney.
But is it organized? Is it organized in a 3-ring notebook with tabs on it? You see, the problem I have one too. My documents files was 4 feet tall. It wasn't in a notebook. It was hard to carry because of rubber bands, and it wasn't organized. Also, there's 2 important documents I forgot. One is called a journal, and the other one is called a incident timeline log. You ever heard of the incident timeline log?
Yes.
Okay, an incident timeline log is where you take a sheet of notebook paper and you use 3 lines per incident. And you do this from day one. And the incidents could be with the police, the social workers, the school, could be with your children or other parents or other people. But it's important enough, anything that involves CPS, you should have an incident report log done on it. Now, your first line is devoted to the date and time of the incident. On that same line, you put down either the address that you were at the incident or it was done on the phone, you put the phone number. Then, after that, in the first line, you put the people involved. Then the second line is a summary, a one sentence summary of what the incident's about. And then the third line is a summary of the outcome of the incident. Now, if you don't know the outcome, then you can look for it. Um, um, you can fill it in later. So 3 lines per incident, then skip a couple lines, 3 more lines, couple lines. And so in 6 months, you may have 68 incidents. You won't remember them unless you write them down. Now the journal is another documentation that you could use. Is you address it to your daughter. I don't know how many children we're talking about, but you address it to your children. You tell them daily what is going through your mind and your thoughts. It will help you psychologically feel better about yourself. I got that idea from a guy named Doogie Howsard, who was a doctor at the age of 15 on a medical show. And every night he'd write before his computer a journal of what took place that day. So that is why it's important to have a journal. It'll help you psychologically go through this. And also, 6 months, you won't remember. If you're in court and you can't remember, you have to look it up. So if you have the date and time, you'll be fine.
Thank you.
So that documentation is something I really try to help people on. Also, you put your copies of all your drug tests, copies of all your parenting classes, copies of all your program classes. You put all the important documents of your court cases. You might have a section just dealing with what went in the George, what went in, what was came from the court from the judge, and what came from the social workers. You have to understand, social workers will make recommendations. The judge is your referee, and the judge will decide whether or not that you can have your child or not have your child. He's the one that makes the final determination. But
Right.
he works with the plaintiff attorney, the social workers, and the social workers. And it's sad because sometimes they're in cahoots with each other. I'm not saying all judges are bad, but I think you're going to run into 50% of the judges are bad, and 50% of the social workers are bad, and 50% of the social services, the child protection systems are bad. And also, I'd say
Like the
50,
guardian ad litem and all that.
yeah, the guardian ad litem is a waste of time. CASA is a waste of
Yeah.
time. CASA and the guardian ad litem are ears for the social workers. They love you to spill your beans to them. They want to hear all the
Yeah.
gossip details, and then they'll run you over like with a train that runs you over. You do not understand their thinking. CPS is very corrupt. I don't know if you know the story of Alice in Wonderland, but Alice fell in the rabbit hole and met the Chester cat. And the Chester cat directed Alice's to room after room where she got nowhere. One room said, "Off with your head." So that is how CPS. You're in the hole, the rabbit hole with CPS. Also, fighting CPS is like open heart surgery. If you don't get a right doctor, can you imagine a plumber cutting open your chest cavity and taking your heart on to work on? Can you imagine a
No,
dishwasher,
I would
you
die.
know,
I'd
a
probably die.
dishwasher or yourself trying to do it? No, of course not. I'm exaggerating. You need somebody who's trained and licensed in the area of juvenile law, family law, and defense law. And that costs a lot of money. I know it does. I had to sell my forever home, and I had to sell my home and spend hundreds and hundreds of thousands to get 2 of my 3 children back. I have 6 children, 3 older ones and 3 younger ones. All 3 younger ones were taken, and there was no danger to home. They're in school. It was all made up. It was made up by a reporter, a layman reporter. A layman, my in laws, my wife's mother and father, 3 sisters, and a brother would call in once a week and make false claims. And CPS fed on that. And it made me angry because I would go to the top dog and I would sit there and protest and said, "That's wrong what you're doing." The worst I did, the worse it was. It wasn't until I hired an attorney. So I hired Vincent Davis. I did a quick sell of my forever home. I had a home a mile to the beach worth over $1 million. I quick sold it and got that money so that I could defend myself. Unfortunately, I had a bad chain event. I wasn't a young man anymore. I was 60 years old when I lost my job through no fault of my own. And then I had to, stay in my home. I stayed in my home another 7 more years. Let me see, 2010, and I stayed there to another uh, 2010. Yeah, it was 2010. Anyway,
So what about this therapist that they have assigned to my 5.5-year-old daughter? Should I trust her?
no. The problem is
No.
you need to have her see her pediatrician. You have medical
Okay.
rights. Your child needs to have a medical pediatrician that you approved. CPS can have their own, but you got to have a second one. It's more money, but it's a second one because you need something to dispense them because CPS controls the pediatrician. They control CASA, they control the plaintiff attorneys, they control everything. They are not your friend. And you have to get a pit bull of attorney. Now, I don't know if you listen to Vincent Davis's live streams, but he has a lot of them. And
Okay.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to ask another question, but I didn't mean to interrupt you, Bob.
No, please do, because this is what the show's all about, is helping you all. And welcome, NK Light. You're doing a quick sell of your home as well. I spent my inheritance on my attorneys. I did too. You have to fight for your child's future well-being. I agree with that, MK Light. So she is in this room, and MK Light. I forget. She's from Utah. I think she's from Utah. Um, see,
Well, welcome.
yeah. So we have.
I don't have this kind of money. I didn't have $1 million house or any of this stuff. Like my family has almost lost everything because of this situation, and they're helping me. But I mean, how much more money do we have to keep putting out? I mean,
Well,
it's like
it depends on how bad this agency is. It's like that. Retainers run. They start at 5,000, but they can be as much as 100,000. And the attorneys run at $200 an hour, as much as $1,000 an hour. My attorney is $500 an hour. His retainer for locally is 5,000. But with my case, since it went so long and it was really damaging, it cost me a lot of money. I would say well over $250,000 of dollars. It was a lot, and I still don't have my daughter back. She was she was sadly she was coached and told to divorce her parents and seal her birth certificate and change her name, get a new birth certificate, a second social security card so she can double dip from my social security and then get her foster parents adopted. She's 23. I've not seen her since she's 12. So,
wow.
I mean, I lost my home. I lost my daughter. I lost my two dogs. I lost my mother, my father. I lost his sister. And the rest of my family pretty much has nothing to do with us, even though we got our two boys back. And so, yes,
So
Betty Joe, I did get a new computer. Yeah, go ahead.
What if I just left the state of Florida and went to Missouri or just went anywhere?
Well, you don't have your daughter, number one, and they know that.
Well, I can see her every single day. I just can't stay the night with her. Luckily, my mom found a rental like almost across the street from where I'm staying.
Okay.
So I'm seeing her.
That
every
is the
single day.
best situation. But you got to have an attorney. I mean, is this new attorney you have? What's his background? What's his background?
His background is trial, criminal, injury, and family.
Well, the family is the only thing you got strength on. The trial won't help you. The criminal won't help you. And ask him on the family. Has he ever fought CPS and gotten children back? Does he have any records to show that? That's a very important question. When I get the references of three of attorney and I get their references, that's one of the first questions I ask. Was this attorney working with you? Do they have a background of fighting CPS and getting the children back? And the real kicker I ask, have you ever done a lawsuit? Because most attorneys won't do lawsuiting at CPS because there's no money in there. Now, a good attorney, the
Yeah.
good attorney will do it. My attorney, Vincent Davis, has won millions of dollars.
Okay. I just, oh my God. So I do remember being in court one time, and then they actually said DCF, or they were like, well, this isn't even a dependency lawyer talking about my attorney, and they just put him out on the spot like that.
Well, yeah,
Can they
because
use that against me too?
well, no, it's old news. But what I'm trying to say is that you're fighting an organization that makes trillions of dollars a year. Do you know what $1 trillion is?
I mean, I've never had that
The
much
richest
money, but I know it's a lot
person,
of money.
the richest person in this country, Elon Musk, doesn't make $1 trillion. There's only one person. It's not a person. It's a company that makes $1 trillion. It's a GPU. It's the people that make the video cards of your computer, the GPUs, the graphic personal computer. It's the graphic card. Nativia is $1 trillion business.
Okay.
The CEO was just
So do
over
you
in
think
China. So
if I started a protest, would that help anything? Like if I got
no,
people together and did it
I have
peacefully?
tried to go that way. I know people gone to Sacramento 2 years ago and did a protest. Someone did a protest recently up in Santa Barbara. There are protests going all along. Your emphasis, protest is not going to make it happen sooner. It's going to make them angry. It's going to make them do more things. The best thing is to be professional. It's yes, no answers. Don't say anything else but yes, no. Also, have your attorney present at all times when you meet with them, when you talk to them. Never meet at their office. Meet in a public place where you can record and film, like Starbucks, the library, McDonald's. There's no law that stops you from photographing them.
Well, sometimes they have these staffing meetings just with their people, and they said that the lawyers they're not able to join in on these because they're not legal meetings with legal people.
No, the
Is that
lawyer,
true?
no, it's not because your constitutional right says that all proceedings, not just staffing meetings, that all proceedings by law,
Okay.
you can have an attorney present. They don't like it. And your attorney, I don't know why they complain, they're getting paid for it. They,
So he just wants, of
well,
course, more money because this is I didn't realize how much work there is to be putting in this stuff.
oh,
This is worse than a criminal case.
oh, it is. Criminal cases are easy. Criminal cases are you have a crime committed, you have a whole history of crimes out there. You're dealing with a jury trial. You see, the problem that people don't understand, no jury is going to make a decision of your of your case. It should be jury trials, but they don't. They put all the emphasis on a judge who is a retired lawyer, who may or not have the background. They're elected by the public. They're not appointed, they're elected. And the only time appointments come into play is if the judge dies or they need a temporary judge for the time being. And you certainly don't want to have a commissioner. You don't want to have a commissioner.
Right.
You want to make sure if they say, well, we're kind of busy right now. Would it be okay if we have a commissioner try your case? You say, no, I want a judge. If I have to wait longer, I will wait. Secondly, you need to find out what kind of judge you have, find out his weaknesses. My rule number 4 tells you how to use the internet. Use Chrome browser. Now, I know Microsoft Edge is real popular, Bing is real popular, DuckGo Duck. Okay, the reason why I picked Chrome is only because they've been doing it the longest for a search engine. And the
What
way
about
the
GPT chat?
that is good. That's an excellent. I'm glad you brought that up. That's another good one. GPT chat is excellent. Make sure you get the right software version, but it gives you answers. You look up things. That's a good one. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I meant to tell people I found out about myself.
Well, Bob, I appreciate all of this information that you have given me tonight. It's 11 o'clock here in Florida time.
Yes, I'm so
So
sorry.
I
I'm so
need to
sorry.
get
Yeah.
some rest. But thank you for your time. It was definitely a lot of good information for me, and I would definitely love to go with this. And if I could find out a way to come up with this money, maybe go dig some holes and try to find some gold. I don't know, but
Well, your
yeah.
first
So
step is get the right attorney. You got to make sure you have the right attorney. If you're going to hire an attorney, which is a smart move, and you're going to sacrifice, you have to. Now, Chris, I want you to know that you can call me tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. That'll be 8 to 9, 9, that'll be 10 o'clock your time. See, 8 to 9, 9, 10, 11 o'clock your
11.
time.
Yeah.
And I'll gladly talk to you
Okay.
some more because I think there's some more stuff you need to know. Okay? I
Okay.
feel I barely
Thank you so
scratched the
much, Bob.
surface, but don't give up. The main thing is to keep
I
going.
will.
Okay? Thank you so much,
Okay.
Chris
Thank
from
you so
Florida.
much. Take
I'll be
care.
talking
Thanks,
to you.
everybody.
All right. Bye bye. Okay, that was Chris from Florida who lives in Missouri that has a real trouble case of a false accusation. She was caught with an Uber driver, and I guess she had one too many, and she was walking and flagged the police, and the police got a hold of the Child Protection Service because she had a child with her, and it became a nightmare. And so I'm trying to catch up with this room here. There's a lot of you in here, and it's so great to see all of you. Maybe it's my new computer. I don't know. But um, we've had MK Light in here, Betty Joe from Montana, and Betty Joe's so helpful. She's telling her what to do and everything. And Chris, you need to have your mom be a foster parent and get that foster license. Um, MK Light from Utah, I'm so glad to see you back again. And it's, you know, it is a very corrupt system. Betty Joe says you can also call the state of Missouri where your mom lives and find out what progress is for this ICPC. Her mom, by the way, Betty Joe, found an Uber home in Florida, so she's across the street from her daughter. And every time you talk to a social worker, write down the date, the time, and what you talk about. Every time you talk to your attorney. So that's the same thing. Betty Joe, you need to get your family therapy and get your daughter involved in the therapy. Good idea, Betty Joe. Anna, I love that show. Doogie Howser, played by young Neil Patrick Harris. Yeah. Well, he wrote a journal, and I think a journal serves two purposes for me. It's to keep in touch with my kids and about my life if something happens to me, at least they could read what I was going through while they were gone from me from 2015, May of 2015 to December 2017. Um, and it's just another add little piece of advice pertaining documentation. Keep as much of a paper trail as possible. You have to speak on the phone or in person, record everything. Audio's fine. MK Light from Utah. Thank you, Anna. The therapist refused it. Yes, if you can go to a public place, she can't refuse the record. And again, the therapist you hide should be on record. If you let CPS run the show, if you let them get their own therapists, their own doctors, and everything, you need to have your own doctors for your child and for you and therapists and stuff there. They're not clinical psychiatrists. They think they are, but caseworkers are bad. Betty Joe says, also, if you have any questions for your caseworker, ask her for her email address and email her directly. There's a paper trail. So true, Betty. Or if you speak to a social worker and you want to do a follow up, you can do a self serving email. You say, per our talk today, such and such and such, and you send this email. Make sure you get a receipt requested back. Um, Now, MK Light has done a quick sale as well. I spent my inheritance on my attorney fees. You have to fight for your child's future well being. That's true. Education programs have a better peer review efficiency. Good, MK Light. MK Light, as opposed to therapy, where there's no objective standard to meet. Thank you. I'm grateful to the people who understand. We all do, MK Light. Yes, Betty Joe has put out so much money. She's adopted a child that lives with her now because the child's parents were killed on a Friday night, and the relatives didn't take care of him. So Betty Joe, being a good foster mom, adopted that child. She's taking care of him. She's niece back, so it's kind of hard. Nana. Now, Nana's new here. I don't know if Nana's here before. This is the grandma that has joined. I'm trying to do an IPC regulation since I already have placement of her. Nana, are you connected to Chris? Are you the mother for Chris? Nana? Yes, Betty Joe, I did have a new computer. I don't know if my color, my face looks better or worse. I don't know if the lighting looks better. The screen looks smaller for the window on SteamYard, but hopefully it's bigger on your end. Um, yes, when you lose emotionally, it's so difficult. I'm still suffering with the loss of my daughter. I'm still going through it. I had a nice friend on here named Christina Renoza who's helped me write a prepare a lawsuit against them. Nana says, I'm the grandmother that has placed my child in a dependency case. I don't know what case it is, Nana. And where are you from, Nana? Where? And Man K. says, I'm so sorry when you lose your child's emotional. Betty Joe, okay. How did you get a new computer? I begged and begged and begged, and I was finally paid. It took me 6 months to save up for it. MK Light um, is thanking Nana. MK Light also says that CPS told me it's best to not have an attorney because if you do, they'll bring the attorney general. They love to threaten things, but you need the right kind of attorney. And you can they won't bring the attorney general. They're just trying to be sarcastic. Nana, all these people in cahoots with each other, attorneys, CPS, guardian of litums, CASA, they're all in cahoots. Ombudsperson, the judges. It's like a social club. It's terrible. And these are the cases. Betty Joe says, I went and saw the governor of Nebraska. She went to the top dog in Nebraska. I've talked to the governor of California. I've talked to the lieutenant governor, but that was a whole different matter. That was where I was trying to get a license for a physical therapist for a person that was a dear friend of mine. And I just know sometimes you can go to the top. I went to the top director at CPS and it was a waste of time. Can I do administrative hearing by myself without attorney? Yeah, you can, but you'll be eaten up alive because administrative hearing will involve the attorneys from CPS. And those attorneys are vultures. They love the challenge. Why? Because they're paid big bucks. They're probably paid $1,000 an hour. That's why. Because why? They have $1 trillion. You know, they have unlimited money. They're getting $20,000 per child. If a child has special needs, they get additional $15,000. If the child gets adopted into foster care, they get a bonus of $35,000. So this money is always running and they don't care. The money, there's no accountability. There's no check and balance. There will be soon. So thank you, MK Light. Anna, I'm an activist and a professional protester. Although it may seem it doesn't work, it still gives you power back and exercise. It does. It does. But you got to concentrate on what's best to get your family. Yes, you're right, Betty Joe. You're right. You're right. Anna 2, part 2. And if I have to use a proper language here. This is a depends when we can't use profanity. Then oh well, because it wouldn't change everything. Um, I'm sorry I had to delete that comment there, Anna. MK Light, oh my goodness, I feel like all I have is hope and prayer. You have more than that. You have God. Don't forget God, everybody. Don't forget God. Say your prayers. Betty Joe says, MK Light, I said my prayers and my thoughts to you and everyone. Thank you, Betty Joe. I know you do. MK Light says 100 to Anna, but it takes conflict to generate change. Anna says, I love Chat GPT. I pay the $20 monthly subscription. Yes, you guys want to research CPS? Chat GPT is the new way to go. I strongly recommend it. I cannot believe how good Chat GPT is. It's great. It's an AI program, and it's available for free on the Microsoft Store. I don't know about this $20 a month subscription, but I have the free version. And it says, MK, you're exactly right. And MK says, thank you, Betty Joe. MK says, much hope and strength to those who take away our babies. MK Light, thumbs up. Black, you're a new person at 8:06. I'm new here. I've come in late. Yes, you have. But I'm going to have to end the show. I'm just trying to catch up with my words, Black. And MK Light, love the idea of a journal instant time log. Good. Anna Smith, pertaining to Doogie Howser journal. I have something like that, but I created an email account for my kids and I write and send them emails to the account so when they're old enough, they'll love them. You're right. Black, social workers are not therapists nor law enforcement. You're right. Black, where are you from? And I'd love to see you tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. MK says, hi, Nana. I still don't know where Nana's from. Anna says, for your information, all your video feed, lighting, and sound quality, all sounds looks perfect. No problems. I'm glad to hear that. Speaking of God, as of yesterday, I'm now official legal officiant minister in the state of Virginia. Congratulations. And God bless you, Anna. That is very sweet to share that with us. And MK says, congratulations. I've caught up with all of you. It's now 8:16, so I've gone over too far. I apologize. I got to start these on time and end on time. I've talked for 1 hour and 2 minutes, so I've really only gone 2 minutes over. So it's not too bad. I have a new computer, so I think I've eliminated 99% of my problems. So I want to thank you, Anna Smith, for being a part of my live stream. I want to thank MK Light from Utah for being part of my live streams. Thank you, Black. I hope you come back tomorrow. I don't know where you're from. Let's see who else I have here. Thank you, Betty Joe from Montana. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you, Nana. I have no idea where you're from, but welcome here, Nana. I want to see you again. Who else did I have here? I think after that it's going to be Chris that talked on the phone. I'm still seeing some of. Oh, Cruella, I can't forget you. Thank you for being on my show. You didn't say too much, Cruella, but be on my show tomorrow. And then we got the person that called in, Chris. Chris is from Florida, lives, born in Missouri, has a terrible case in trying to get her child back and trying to use ICPC. But Chris, thank you. Thank you so much. That takes care of everybody. I think I've covered everybody. I want to thank you all for listening. Do not give up. Come here for encouragement. Come here because I will help you. I will help you. Um, oh, he's from Texas, but he lives in Georgia. Well, welcome, Black, and I'm glad to have you here. But I want you to know, come in here for encouragement. You will get your children back. You just have to keep fighting, fighting. And I will take your calls. You can be a guest on my show. And I've had it up for there because I can take 9 of you to be there. I'm going to put up something called Doge. And this is something new here. Doge is the Department of Government Efficiency. It's a website that's investigating social services. And the child protection system is a part of social services. It was created in 62 by Congress. And so they are investigating. I know that for a fact because I was talking to an intake worker at social services, and a Doge supervisor came on and said, are you being helped okay? And they're listening in. on social services and CPS to see if they're doing all right. The number is there. It is working. I have called it. The number is in Washington, D.C. And there's an email too. There's an email. So there's a brief message at the end of my show. Please listen to it. God bless you all. And I'll see you tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted. And if you go against it, it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the
last ones left. Put your faith in